Good evening. It is Monday, the 12th of May, 2025, and it's 8:30 p.m. UK time, 9:30 p.m. in Holland, because that's where my guest is based. Someone who I've known for a little while, for a few years, was lucky enough to meet in Amsterdam, and he helped hook up one of the venues, Café de Duval. And it was great to meet him in person, and he played a brilliant set of killer cuts, which we ended up playing as part of 45 Day 2025 because Sam Tweaks couldn't make it. Amazing DJ, a label as well, lots of stories. I really can't wait to find out more about him. And here he is, DJ Irie.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, man. Yeah, like I just said, it's been great to sort of know you online, like a lot of people, and then get to meet as well, and the connections that you helped us, because I think We Love 45 Amsterdam was definitely a big success, partly due to your help and the collaborations and the connections from everyone. It was a group effort, wasn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, it was kind of surreal to see you in real life. I'm like, man, this guy. I've been, the whole pandemic thing brought a lot of people together. That was definitely like a silver lining. And then to see you like in real time talking to me, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. So yeah, man.
Now, we have done a little bit of an interview, which I interviewed you outside Killer Cuts, but that'll be coming at some point soon. But I always talk to my guests who first come on this show about their musical influences, because for me, music has been a passion for a long time, since I've been a young kid. So for you, who first got you into music, and what sort of age was that?
Yeah, definitely my mother, I think, first of all, because she played a lot of music always. She's Dutch, but she's an expat, so she's raised outside of the Netherlands ever since she was a kid. Teenage years, she lived in London, actually, like in the UK for a long time. So she had a whole like UK vibe, like the Beatles and the Stones, and everything's like 60s and the Doors and all those things. So, and music was always on in my house, always. She's an artist. She works with I don't know how you call it, with like silver and stuff, and gold and all. Yeah, and she was always listening to music, always. And that was in Brazil, because I'm originally a Brazilian, so I lived there with her. When I moved to the Netherlands, everything was so weird to be like outside of Brazil. It was like so foreign. And one thing I clearly remember, and it gave me like I would say some stability in life, was music, because they played the same music on the radio over here as they played over there. That one song from Tracy Chapman, Fast Car. It might not, I mean, it's a good song. I mean, it's not the best song, but for me, it has a very special meaning, because that was the first song that I heard in the Netherlands, and I knew that from Brazil as well. So that, and so yeah, I had a lot of help from music, I guess, and for sure it started with my mother. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing.
Mhm.
Now, a couple of things. So what age was that when you moved from Brazil to the Netherlands?
Yeah, I lived there till I was 9.
Okay, all right. So yeah, so a big chunk of your life, early life there.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. Uh-huh.
and is your mum playing music on vinyl, or is it just the radio you're hearing?
Back in Brazil used to be a radio, but I remember like back in the, I think it was 89, 90. You could rent records from the library,
Yeah.
and
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys had that in the
Yeah.
UK,
Yeah.
but yeah, we had a record player, and we also had a cassette player. So that's where my whole like recording shit and making mixtapes, that all started with like library records from that I got with my parents.
Wow. So you'd go to the library, you'd rent out, or they'd borrow you the record, and then you'd go home and sample it. So at
Yeah,
this
yeah, I just
stage,
recorded on tape. Yeah, yeah.
okay, and then you would what, use that and put those bits together to make a
Well,
mixtape, or
no,
just record sections?
yeah, no. At the beginning, I was just making like, I guess it was mix. It was a mixtape, I guess. Like, yo, I like this song from the record. I like that song from the record. So I'm gonna record that one first and that one second, and then I had, to give back the records. But at least I had my favorite music already. So I was already making like small compilations, I think.
Okay, and are you recording this on like the family system? Have you got like a record deck on the top and then a cassette player?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then that's what the scratching started as well. When I moved to the Netherlands, I got to live in an apartment, like in a building, because my grandmother was living there on the fifth floor. We got a house at the seventh floor, just above her. So my parents was never home. I always got home first. And then my parents came in later, and so I always played music like way too loud. My mom and my grandma was always calling, "Yo, I can hear you from, you know." I can hear you all the way here. I remember one day I fucked up my mom's Beatle record or something with scratching. Man, I got a beating, man. That was bad, yo.
To get the idea for scratching, had you seen scratching? Had you heard scratching? What was it that made you sort of try and scratch the records?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I don't know where I first heard hip like scratching. I do remember like one of the very first hip hop songs that I ever heard was Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby, because I knew the sample. I knew the David Bowie and Queen track, and I was like so confused, like why is there a guy talking over that song? And what happened to Freddie? He's not on here. Or what? And then I got into that and all those hits from 1991, the hip hop hits, I would say, and Beats International and all those things. And then I had a neighbor, a female girl, and she was like, "Yo, you like that stuff? I got something else for you." And she brought me Public Enemy. And I think that was when I first heard scratching. I think.
Public Enemy, they come up on so many of my shows. So many people have been influenced by that incredible group, still an incredible group. So obviously she brought that to you. So what was your reaction to hearing Public Enemy?
I don't know. I just couldn't believe it. I remember because my English was not that great, but it was okay. I remember just running to my mom like, "Yo, and the slaves that did, and the other that, and the black people, everything, the whole world is fucked up, and everything's a mess." And I like it was such a not even on a musical side, but more like on the knowledge, I guess. It's like, wow, oh my god, there's this whole old world out there. And although I knew a bit about it since I'm Brazilian and we have like a slavery background, and it's not foreign for Brazilian by itself. So it's, I guess, I would say for my Dutch kids that would be way bigger of a shock, but I was still like so shocked, like, "Yo, what is this?" And there's a whole bunch of noise, and like in between the rapping there's more noise, and I like that noise. I want to know what it is.
And obviously it's just layers upon layers upon layers of sound, isn't it? That they would just record like jamming and just make noise, and then they'd just take tiny little snippets of it, wasn't it? And do you
Right.
think that inspired you? Obviously you sample later in life, and do you think that inspired you at that time?
I guess so. One thing that I think that's also Public Enemy related, but I guess that's when I learned that I like a bit of weird stuff. When I first started DJing, I was about 12 years old. I had a neighbor, he had a mobile DJ thing, and I was never allowed to DJ, but I was allowed to do the lights. So one day that he got booked for to do like a school party, and so I was doing the lights and whatever, and he was playing music and everything was fine. And then he had to go to the bathroom. And like, "Yo, can you take care of the music in case this song stops? You have to play one other song, and I'll be back as soon as possible." So, okay, great, no problem. This kid came up, like, "Yo, do you have a 911's a Joke by Public Enemy?" And I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah, I got that," because I had that CD with me. So I played 911's a Joke, and I cleared the whole dance floor, man. Like everything was a mess. And my neighbor friend came back. He saw what I did. Like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing, man? You just ruined the whole party." And I was like, "Yo, but I like that song, and another guy liked that song as well." Man, I got fired. It's like, "Yo, you will never come, go with me again." And that's when I realized, like, okay, I guess I don't like the regular stuff. I just like.
Wow, I can just imagine that scene. That's incredible, incredible. Okay, so that was sort of your first taste of DJing.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, like that. That's how the 45 started as well. There was actually not really a choice. You either had it on 45 or you recorded it from the radio and you played it from a cassette. And maybe you had some LPs, but I don't think so. I think like Two Unlimited and all those things, and I guess the Joker and whatever, all those hits from back then. You just bought it on 45 and you brought it, to the party to play. That's how
Yeah.
I started.
So where did it go from there? Do you get your own decks, and then do you then sort of start getting the odd gig?
No, I always had like decks, like very old ones, whatever I could find, pretty much. The old ones from my father or from my mother, and some I don't even know. I just had some weird ass old shit, put together, and yeah, I had a few records. I remember I had like some Rolling Stones 45s and Saturday Night Fever or something. When I was about 14, I bought a Bismarcky record, and I bought two of them because I had the foresight. Like, yo, I don't know why, but I think I need two. And just to be sure, to just look ahead, like, yo, at least, once I have to, I can do stuff. But I never was really serious into it until like I was about 15, and I started beatboxing. And there was this guy at my school, and he became sort of my teacher. He was like, "Yo, do you like beatboxing?" I said, yeah, I can do a little. And he thought I was whack, so he showed me the Bismarcky record, and he was like, "Yo, if you can do that routine for me, then you'll be down or something, like, yeah, then you'll be a cool kid." Like, yeah, I wanted to be a cool kid, so I studied all week to do the Bismarcky routine, that 1 2 1 2, the thing. Yeah, I showed it to him, and I guess it was good enough. So we became best friends, and we started beatboxing together. And then later on, an MC came with us, and we became a crew, like a three-man crew, two beatboxers and one MC. And we actually started doing small shows locally and stuff. But my friend started making beats on his computer. His father was a big record collector, so he had all the jazz and all the breaks. He had every. I didn't even realize back then, but in hindsight, I was like, man, he had that, the funkadelic breaks and whatever. He had it all, but I wasn't really aware that it was just there. But anyway, he started making beats and whatnot, and I was like, I started rapping, but I wasn't really good at it, and I didn't really like it. I just felt awkward, so I was like, "Yo, I got a turntable. I think that's part of hip hop, right? Just like Public Enemy, so I can make the noises in between. When you stop rapping, I'm gonna scratch." That's how it came about.
Cool. This was when you were about 15?
Yeah, 15-ish. Yeah.
Okay, so you start getting gigs. So then you're sampling, and are you using 45s for the scratching stuff?
Man, that's a good question. No, I think I had LPs by then. No 45, because I thought it was too difficult to scratch with. And the gigs was actually like with a turntable on stage, and that was already like, looking back, like, yo, how, it's quite impossible. But yeah, that's what we did. So I needed actual records. Yeah, I think the 45 thing kind of died out. It wasn't really like now it's like such a thing, like, yo, I'm a 45 DJ. But back then it was just, yeah, I have a small record and I have a big record, and the big one scratches easier, so I'm going to use the big one.
So you guys do some gigs, and does it sort of progress from there? Do you stay in the same group, or do you end up moving on?
Yeah, we actually got, like, I wouldn't say really not famous at all, but it was the start of the Dutch hip hop scene, like early 90s. Hip hop in Netherlands was all English, and we was doing it in Dutch already. And the biggest group from the Netherlands back then was called Osdorp Posse from Amsterdam, and they saw my MC and they hooked up and linked up, and so we became the opening act for them. So which was good because we had like 3-4 gigs a week for almost 2 years. I didn't get paid anything or whatever, but I didn't care. I didn't even know that was an option, like, can I get money for this? I just loving my life. I'm 15, 16, doing all these gigs and learning. Man, I was learning so much from that crew because I was watching them perform every day, learning how they did like simple things like the light check, the mic check, how they behaved on stage, all those things. I was soaking it up, like, getting all that information. I mean, I got sidetracked when I was around 16. I got into some bad like street shit, like bullshit, and there was a moment when I realized, like, yo, I like the street shit more than the music. Yeah, I think I quit the group for a while. For almost 2 years I was, I don't know, on the streets, I would say, doing dumb shit.
Okay, so you move on from that, and I think, and then get back to sort of less dumb shit. Should we put it that way? So yeah, how does it progress from there?
When I was 18, I think my street nonsense got to an end because I got caught by the police, and it was like a week after my 18th birthday. So I was charged as a grown up, and so I had to go in front of the judge, and I was really stubborn, like, yo, I don't need no lawyer or anything, I'm just gonna fix it myself, fuck it, just. So I went there, and the judge, he said something that was super profound for me. He's like, yo, you're fucking up everything. You like, your school is bad, at the house you're not reacting well, you're making a mess out of your life, but you still do the music thing, right? You should continue to do that. And I was like, whoa, really? That's, for me it was like, it was such a big impact, because I was thinking, "Yeah, I'm going to go to jail for like forever and my life's over," but he just gave me an out, sort of like, "Yo, instead of all that negativity, you could do music, and then you're gonna be good." And I'm like, "Shit, man, I think he's got a point." It hit me like in my soul and in my whole being, like, "Yeah, man, I can do that." So that's what I did.
That's incredible. Again, it's a bit of a synchronicity, isn't it? It's a good job that you had that judge who could see that the way a young person might go a different path is through music. If you'd have had someone else who maybe he was into music himself, if you'd have had someone else who didn't care about that, and they might have just said, okay, yeah, lock him up, and things might have been very different.
Man, I never thought about it, but that is true. I did consider. I mean, didn't really consider, but like fantasize, like, yeah, I would love to thank him, and tell him like, "Yo, I was that kid that you told to make music. I did all right, and I traveled the world and I've seen all this shit, and that was partly because of what you told me."
Okay, so you listen to what he says
I
and
did.
you get back into music. How does it move forwards from there?
Ah, fuck, it's been so long ago. So I ratted a whole bunch of people out. I had one of my best street buddies. We were like super close. I didn't rat him out, but I read all the other guys. Like, that's him. He's doing that. That guy is doing that. He lives there. That guy, bam, 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 bam. And then I got scared as shit. So I moved away from my hometown and I moved to another city called Den Haag, which was 3 hours away almost from my hometown. And I got to live with a buddy who had turntables. And he didn't even know that, but we lived next to each other. And I knew when he went to school, and I always skip school. I was like, "Fuck school, I don't care. I just wanna, I just wanna do this music thing." So every time he went to school, I just opened up his room and went to this room and start practicing. And I knew like, "Oh, it's 4 o'clock. God damn, he's gonna be back." So 3:59, I went back to my room, just sitting like I hadn't done anything all day, and that went on for, I think, 6 months. I was all by myself, like practicing as much as I could. Try to save my life, man. I mean, I don't want to. I don't sound dramatic or whatever, but it was really like that. I was like, "Yo, this is my chance. If I get really good at this shit." I always had the dream of traveling, like because of my background, and since my mom was an expat, she lived in Asia and Africa and all those things. I was aware that the world was big. And I was like, "Yo, if I get good at this thing, that's my ticket out, man. I'm gonna see the world." So I really put everything into it.
Amazing. And it's just like hard work, isn't it? You put the practice in and you had an intention that you wanted to get so good, and you had the aim of aiming high. Like, let me see if I can make this like a career, or let me see if I can make this something that gets me to travel the world. What's the next stage then? You're practicing for 6 months solidly.
Yeah, and then I saw this flyer on the ground actually, and it had this text on it. First of all, it had like a picture of a guy with two hands on both turntables at the same time, and I was like, "Oh, that's the coolest shit ever. That's me. That's what I want to do. That's I don't want to play only with on one record. I want my both hands on my both records. That's gonna be the shit." So, and it all says, "Are you the turntable king?" And I was like, "Cause you're young and dumb, And I was like, "Yeah, I'm the turntable king. I'm the best guy in my area. I come from a small town, really. I mean, I lived in a small town. I was by far the best over there, So, like, yeah, man, I'm the turntable king. So I'm gonna sign up." And I had to make a demo tape and go to Amsterdam and actually give the tape to somebody. And then I got the call, like, "Yo, you're in. You can, enter the battle." Which was called Turntableized, and was held in the Melkweg and Paradiso in Amsterdam. Like, shit, man, this is it, man. I'm gonna do it, and I entered the battle, and man, I got last, yo.
How many was there? How many people was there?
Oh, back then that was like, I would say that was for sure the golden era of turntablism. Like, it was about 97. So man, we had many pre-rounds. All pre-rounds had at least 20 DJs, and like killers like DJ Kipski and TLM and all those DNS, and they already, I don't know how actually, but they already knew what the fuck they was doing, because I didn't know what I was practicing, but I didn't know what I was practicing really. I just kind of came up with my own thing, like, okay, I guess this is the way it should be. I guess, I don't know, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So I came up with my own thing. Those guys were legit, man. They had the whole executionist thing, and and they, it sounded good. They had the great records and like proper routines. I'm like, fuck, man. And so yeah, I became last, and that whole cycle from like losing, going back home, practicing more, that took me a few years to start actually winning stuff.
And are you getting any training from anyone? Are you watching other people? Are you getting any mentoring? You've obviously gone to these competitions. Have you connected with people who are there to help you, or are you literally just watching and then doing it yourself?
Yeah, I was really doing it myself. I think that's part of my character. Really, I don't like to ask too much for help, which is not always good, but it's good in some ways, I guess. No, I was like, no, I want to fix it myself, just like I did with the judge thing. Like, yo, I can, I, I can do it.
Yeah.
and but one thing, and I told that guy as well, there's a DJ in the Netherlands called DJ TLM. You might know him from his YouTube channel. He stepped up to me like, yo, your skills are really not up there, man. You're really not good at all, but you have like some type of vibe. It's like, I don't know, like you behave like a proper DJ, but you don't sound like one yet, or something like that. So you have to work harder. It's like, oh shit, okay, man. So that actually put the battery in my back to actually work harder, because I was already a fan of TLM. And he told me that I was whack, but I didn't care. I could see I was whack. If I wasn't whack, I would have won, if I was good. So then I started practicing some more, but no real interaction with people, not linking up with people, whatever. Just went back to my room and practicing. I had a lot of DMC tapes though.
Because that was the next thing I was going to say. Because obviously this was probably pre-internet. DMC tapes, VHS tapes, DVDs. What are you watching?
Yeah, it started with VHS tapes. I guess I had DVDs later on, but yeah, usually just tapes. I think I had the USA Finals '96. I had, I think, an ITF tape '97 with DJ Babu on it. The one that he won. And I think I had a team battle thing. Yeah, that was it. Man, that was shit. That shit was on repeat all day, man.
Okay, so you make yourself good enough to start winning. So when was the first sort of big win you had?
Yeah, the first time I won was in 2002 at the DMC's, the Dutch Championships. It was my biggest crowd as a solo artist in a venue called Planet Rock, which was like a get together of like b-boys and everything. Grandmaster Flash was there, I remember, and some other American MC. I think even Crazy Legs was there. So it was like a legit thing. And yeah, I won that battle that year. I remember like being super happy, but also a bit like I didn't know what to do after that. Like, oh shit, I don't have a plan after this. I won, and now shit, I should have maybe thought this more through. Weird, right? Because I put everything into it, and once I got it, I'm like shit, now I got it, and then now what?
Go back again next year?
Well, the logical next step was go to the World Finals.
Okay.
And that's what I did at the DMC 2002 in London. That's when I started going to London and actually linking up with more DJs. I had a DJ crew by then. A DJ Rocket from the Netherlands helped me out a lot. I won the solo and he won the supremacy, or the other way around. I can't really remember. So we traveled together to London. And in London, that was so dope, man. I got to see all this talent from all over the world, like DJs from Canada, Japan, the US, France, all in the same room, and they were showing me their routines and whatever in front of my face, like, wow, yo, this is dope.
Okay, so you're sort of visiting London early 2000s. You're now connecting with a lot more DJs. Where does it go from there then?
Well, I started studying at a music school in the Netherlands. It's called like Academy for Pop Culture, which I thought it was finally a school that would actually fit me well. And I learned how to play piano, the music theory, how to produce, how to work in a band. We had all these projects that I was involved in. It was obligatory to make you like your own band with a drummer and whatever, and create songs and record songs and all that shit. So yeah, that happened in 2003, which was good. Also bought me time to learn stuff. I didn't have to make money out of it yet. I could still like just learn, which was good. And in the meanwhile, I was still just going into DMC battles. Because the whole cycle of being the worst and then going back home and practice, that happened like in a bigger scale with the DMC. I was one of the worst in 2002, went back home, got a bit better, lost again. And then finally in 2005, I got second place at the World Finals Supremacy Battle against DJ Pro Zyko from Germany.
And if anyone doesn't know, tell us what the Supremacy Battle consists of.
Yeah, sure. So at DMC, you have three categories. One of them is the team battle. The second one is the solo battle, which is 6 minutes. You just show one routine and you battle against everybody. The Supremacy battle is a head-to-head battle. I love that the most as well, because that was like a real hip-hop thing. Like, I'm in front of that guy and I have to smoke that guy, and that's it. So yeah, Supremacy is a head-to-head battle, like start with 16 and go up to 8, 4, 2. So a tournament kind of thing.
Is that harder because you're having to battle each time and you're having to come up with routines and perhaps personalize some of the routine for the other person?
Well, it fitted me better, I think. With the 6 minute, I didn't really have an aim to, and also I always thought like 6 minutes, the length itself was just a weird time. You couldn't really stretch it out, but you had to hurry, but not too much. And I didn't know. I didn't really, never really knew what to do. I never did really well with the 6 minutes, but the head to head was like 1.5 minute each battle, and the final I think was 2 minutes. I had the knack for it to make like a good 1.5 minute with a solid ending. I don't know why, but that really it worked out well, and I had a whole bunch of ideas, and so I could come up with like a big stack of records, and I already pre decided like, yo, I should do that first. I made mistakes as well because I did the world finals 4 times. Sometimes I started weak, and then you don't go to the next round. But if you started way too good, then you don't have anything left for the next rounds as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really tactical sort of thing. And obviously there comes a time when the sort of DMCs start introducing digital as well. Are you part of it at that stage? And what was your take on that change?
My last battle I did, I guess, in that run was 2005, and then I got back into it one more time in 2008, which I kind of regret in a way, but whatever. No, I don't think they allowed it digital yet. They only wanted vinyl, but the dumb thing I thought was like, yo, everybody's pressing records now. They make digital sets, and then they press like a like a white label record, and they do the routines off a white label record, which I thought like, yo, just let them do.
So what's the difference? Yeah.
Yeah, just let them do digital. It's costing everybody a lot of money, and the soul was already leaving turntablism thought a little bit, because the thing that I liked about it, like, yo, I know that song, and then a DJ just starts messing about with it, and like it becomes like a new song. And there was this era where a lot of people used like the same producer, and it became super like digitized or whatever. But you never really knew what was going on because you didn't know the sounds beforehand. So if you know
Okay.
the sounds already, then they're flipping it. That was what I loved about it, and so it lost a bit of soul, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's move it forwards a little bit. This is part of my journey, and a lot of things we talk about on this journey is mental health. Now, tell us what you were doing sort of pre-pandemic, and then we'll talk about sort of what happened as a result of the pandemic. What were you doing in terms of music and career and things like that?
One of the things that happened to me after I got second place at the World Finals is that I got approached by a theater company called Ish, ESH. They're from Amsterdam, and they traveled the whole world. And they asked me to become like the turntablist for their show, which was awesome because we traveled to Broadway. We did 3 weeks Broadway, New York. We went to LA, Chicago, Miami, and all the way to China and South Africa. And, the thing was happening. I finally got my ticket to the world. I'm not only a DJ. I always felt like, I like to do other stuff as well. And in the theater, I was able to experiment with it, and also like have a job where I can experiment with it, it was wonderful, like super, super dope.
Just explain how it works. Were you on stage while they were performing a piece, or were you like a before and after? What was your role?
No, I was part of the piece itself. So because it evolved a lot back then, my first tour I did with them, my part was just to be the DJ. So I played beats for the dancers and for the acrobats and whatever. Sometimes I put some scratch on top of it. I had like a real life battle against a beatboxer, which was a head to head battle. It was kind of cool. He did something, then I did a routine, and he did something, I did a routine, and then we ended up doing a thing together, and it became some Disney, like, oh, they're friends after all. Yeah. So yeah. So that's how it started, and then it evolved because the artistic director asked me like a few years later, "So can you make music?" And I couldn't really make music, but I said yes anyway. And I learned how to make theater music, and I evolved from there. And then I started doing video DJing as well, and that got incorporated in the theater. So I had this whole life next to being DJ Irie. So I can be like more of an artistic guy, I would say, almost. Just saying that because you asked me about what I was doing just before pandemic. And just before pandemic, I had decided like, yo, the DJing thing is cool, but I want to become more of an artist and explore that side, but on my own, not with Ish. I want to make, my own pieces. I like to mess about with video. I did a lot of video mapping and all those things as well, that interests me a lot. Yeah, I got some people to fund me. They gave me like a whole bunch of money to do some research and development, and I wrote a piece and I built a stage for it. I got people involved. I had money
Yeah.
to pay people to make my visuals and all those things. And I was so close to doing my premiere, because my premiere would be like in May 20th or something, 2020.
Yeah.
And then in March, the shit hit the fan, and I was like so depressed. I'm like,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah,
God.
yeah, man. So yeah, yeah, yeah. That was, yeah. What, man, man. I don't know. I guess like all of us, like artists, we know, like, yeah, it was a depressing time, man. I wouldn't say. There's no. But at the beginning, we was kind of happy a little bit, because being an artist, you're always on, you're always working and keep doing and working. And there was a moment like, yo, I don't need to do anything for a while, so that's kind of good, man. And we're gonna clean up my records, stay at home, sleep, maybe have a walk, learn how to properly make pasta finally, and all those silly things. But yeah, yeah, but it kept evolving, and there was no light at the end of the tunnel, and that was the hardest part.
Well, we just didn't know how long it was going to last and how long this situation. And for example, I guess probably to start with, you were like, okay, it will just be postponed. We'll just postpone it for a few weeks, a few months, or whatever. And then obviously, as it sort of progressed, how did you deal with that?
I was lost, man. I think, but the good thing about it is we were all lost together. So, I had all friends calling, like all my DJ friends, like, yo, just, and the people that I didn't even like had a big relationship with, we started getting way closer and way more personal as well. Like, yo, how you doing? Actually calling people, yo, are you doing well?
Mm.
What's up with you? Are you having a good day? What up? Just chat, see if we can, come up with things together. And one of the things I remember is that we as a DJs, we didn't have a place to go yet. Some people started messing around with Facebook. Facebook said,
Yeah.
fuck you guys.
Mm.
And we were like, yo, then we do Instagram, and Instagram said, fuck you guys, except D Nice, because that was the hero back then. I thought, yeah, I guess you guys still remember. I think, why hit, man? Fuck, yo. But anyway, yeah, we started moving around and about, and then finally Twitch came. And that's the place where a lot of people still are, really.
So how did you discover it? Which DJs was it that sort of brought it to your attention that there was DJs on Twitch?
Oh man, that's a good question. That might be a Dutch DJ that did really well. Also, I think I got invited by a lot of people. Like, since I'm also a video DJ, there was this like a big crew from Las Vegas and like the US, and they started doing a 24/7 Twitch stream, video DJ Twitch stream channel. And so there was a whole thing, man, with like 100 DJs, and everybody got this slot, but you had to do it once a week. But I didn't have a studio yet, so I had to do it in my living room with my little kids around me. Man, it was it was terrible. Yeah,
Because you got 3 kids, right?
three kids. Yeah,
Yeah.
and my youngest one was born in 2019. So,
Okay. So
you
just
know,
before.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay. So you've found Twitch. What's your first experience of getting involved in actually streaming on there?
Yeah, I would say with the video DJs guys, that's how it started. And then I've been through a whole lot of phases just experimenting, and then also try to keep the spirit up. Like, yeah, I'm gonna stream every day. And then I streamed every day, like, man, I'm tired. I won't be able to stream. That is so much work. And then because you have to set everything up and do the I mean, I don't need to tell you, you still
Yeah.
do it. But for me it felt like, yo, that's just too much work, man. I can't handle this shit. It's just,
Because that's on top of preparing routines, and you're not just playing records, are you? You're doing a routine on doing a set.
yeah, I try to give it that extra. So also with visuals, and I use a lot of green screens, and if you do use green screens, I mean, I see a Tenor in the chat room. He's the
Yeah.
god. He's one of the gods. He's still doing the whole green screen thing. But yeah, once you do it, yeah, you got to do it good. I feel,
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of work. It was a whole lot of work. Yeah.
And how did you find the community? Obviously, I know what the community is that I found. How did you find your community on Twitch? Were they helpful? Were they people who helped you get through what was going on?
I think so. Yeah, I made a lot of real legit connections that I still talk to them. One of them is DJ Suicide from the Netherlands. I never met the guy before really, but we spoke on the phone almost weekly. And the whole guys from Shaboom Bap Monday. Shout out the Audio One. I got close with all of them, and that was good because the good thing about, I guess, not the pandemic per se, but all the streaming thing, we could show like a different side of us. Like I saw you DJing last week, and you play like real deep, super good music. I mean, there's no other way to play that other than Twitch. I feel almost, if you
Yeah.
can play it in a bar like way back and nobody's paying attention really. But over here, you got all these real legit music lovers that really understand what
Yeah,
you.
it just gives you a freedom. It's freedom to play what you want because it's your channel ultimately. You can do what you like with it. You're not trying to impress a promoter or trying to get a dance floor, which means you can play music that other people aren't going to play or you're not going to hear. You also connected with the Dusty Donuts crew because Needle Drops, we were talking earlier on, you did a show with them, which was an amazing lineup because I think you said it's Funky Chef, Robert Smith, Mark
Uh,
Hype, and you.
yeah.
So, all legends. What's it like, sort of like, I think you described it as maybe a friendly battle.
All four of us, I would definitely include Funky Chef. We all try to do it, the best we can, and push the envelope. DJ wise, I wouldn't even. I guess Funky Chef also with his digging, but yeah, Robert Smith's like a DJ god, man. He's so fucking precise with it. Is ridiculous. And Mark Hype has his whole turntablism background and also the digging thing, and yeah, and and I don't wanna be the weak link. So I just did my best as well. So it kind of became a battle, sort of. I guess the link, it was all through Twitch, really, and I really got along really well with Robert Smith. I would say like a game recognized game, I guess. And yeah, we start talking on Instagram as well, and we got along really well. And I knew him from real life because we have a mutual friend in Germany, and he organized a birthday party before pandemic, and so I already knew Robert Smith. Didn't really know him too well, but yeah. So I think it went kind of like that.
And again, it's amazing that it's probably through the pandemic that these bonds have been increased because obviously if you weren't streaming you wouldn't have sort of had these connections necessarily in the same way. You're on Twitch, obviously you're doing some streams. Let's talk about sort of the other side of the pandemic. So how was it when you then tried to go back into sort of real life? Were you still planning to work on your own pieces, and was the funding still there, or did that sort of disappear because of the pandemic?
That did disappear, unfortunately. Yeah, yeah. All those. I was recently just rethinking about it because I found my plans again. Like, man, that shit's amazing. Why, such a waste of good ideas. Really should see the light someday. But I don't think. I, gue- I guess I got back into DJing fairly hard. I would say just went like and also with Friss, which is by far my best friend, and we started the It Takes Two crew, and we started putting out 45s, and all that stuff. So you're like, yo, this is kind of cool, man. We're gonna continue to do this. I didn't really wanted to do the nightlife anymore. That's the only thing. I was like, if there's a chance for me to be in bed at like 1 a.m. max, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because I can do like the 6 a.m. thing, and then, wake up at 9 a.m. to take care of my kids. And to be honest, I was out like hangover and all that shit. That's bad parenting and all over, man. That's a disaster to happen. So I try to be more conscious about, like how much your body actually can handle. And yeah.
Okay, you've talked about Friss, and obviously I got to meet him in Amsterdam as well at Killer Cuts, and we did a small little interview with him as well, which will be on YouTube in due course. Tell us about the label then. Tell us about the records you put out.
I went back into 45 in around 2016. I was kind of fed up with the digital thing for a while. I don't know. I just always need like extra input. And I think the 45 came along on a perfect time. Like, oh, I still kind of remember what to do, but I'm not really a good turntablist with it yet. So that's a new challenge. So let's take that challenge at that new road and go from there. And I told Friss, and he got inspired by that as well. And we started buying records together and all that. And we got the name already and a few bookings here and there. And then we was very inspired by Dusty Donuts and the whole editing, because I did already a whole lot of edits beforehand. Like, yeah, man, it would be so dope to have those on record. But we have one strict rule, like, yo, we're not gonna stress each other That's the main thing. We are just like two friends that like what we do, and it's a hobby and it's nice to do. So we're not business oriented in that sense, like if he doesn't make a deadline, if I don't make a deadline, that's all good, because we're just good friends first. That's most important. So there's a good reason why he can make it. He might have some, I don't know, some stress with his wife or whatever, and I have some shit with my kid and whatnot. So then it takes two is not relevant, so I like that part about it. That's also at the same time, I think that I didn't, sometimes I regret it. I would like to be more, you push it more, to make it bigger, but that's not the case. And I think the friendship goes first. That's why I made like a second label, and that's my own label, called the Happy Digger. And so far I only released one record, but yeah, I'm planning on doing more of those. So in case I want to push it more and be more like become like I guess a company or whatever, I could do that with my own label.
Yeah, yeah. If people don't know, it takes two. One of you does one side, and then the other one does the other side.
Yeah.
So it's like a edit each, which makes it really interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And we never. I was just thinking about that. Yeah, we never collaborated together. We never made music together. I think it's always like, yo, he had some ideas and I had some ideas, and then we do give each other like feedback or some tips and whatever. But overall, like, and I trust him as well because his name's on it. So if he thinks that's dope and I think that's dope, the most important thing is that he's happy with his side and I'm happy with my side, and then that's it.
And what are you using to produce?
For the edits, I use Ableton Live. For my beats, also use like a Digitech, and I got like an 808, and I do have some outboard stuff. But for the edits, it's all Ableton. And I think Friss uses Reaper. I don't know if you know that program. But it's like
No, that's one I don't know. I might have heard of it, but I don't know. I've never used it.
yeah, it's a free program. It's very similar. I guess it's similar to Logic in a way. Of Cubase is more, like that, but it's free and very powerful. I'm already very acquainted with Ableton, so I don't have to think about it that much. So I just keep doing that.
You say you get back into 45s around 2016. So you're still obviously using them. You've done quite a lot of streams for us. We'll talk about Amsterdam event in a minute, but what is it about them now that still keeps you interested in you wanting to use them as a format?
First of all, they're handy. They're just small, and you can bring a lot of 45s with you if you want to play somewhere. So that's good. And I kind of like the speed of it, I think, which is nice because if you play like 12-inch, you're always kind of lost, and sometimes you play the instrumental for no reason, like, shit, I miss it. It had to be on the clean version where you don't need to play the clean version of all that stuff. And with a record, like, yeah, that side, that's the good side, and then go from there. And it's sort of like an absolute format. You like it, you like the record, or you don't like the record, and that's it. So that's a beauty of a 45, I feel.
And in terms of putting together routines, obviously you said you had to relearn turntablism. Are they still much harder to use than 12s? Do you create different routines because of the format?
I do create different routines. I feel they're way less technical. I think they're more like flowy, I would say. And I guess like way back in the DMC time, but that was just too much. You just like using microseconds of two records and going all that shit. There's no way to do that with 45, but there's no need to do it. So yeah, I guess it kind of changed. I don't think I have the need to show my skills all the time anymore. So if a record's good and the transition is good, then obviously just a blend and the blend is nice, then perfect, man. Nice blend. Let's go.
We've talked about 45s, and one of the things that I always ask my guests on this show is to talk about 3 45s that lift their spirits. It was a question that Mark Lancaster asked in the very first show, what 45s lift your spirits? And it's also ended up in the 45-day uplifting mix. It was a bit late that I asked you, but you did get some records together. So what 3 45s have you chosen that lift your spirits?
Right. Yeah. So I found this one. It's called Nick Pride and the Pimp Tones, and it's a cover from the song called Unfinished Sympathy from
Yes.
Massive Attack. Right. That's the original song.
Yeah.
Which I always loved that original song, and I love the video clip as well because there was that one video clip that it was like one movement throughout the whole video clip. So that was beautiful. But this one has a totally different vibe to it. It's super uplifting. It could be like a TV tune from one of those happy TV whatever things, like yeah, I'm moving to the seaside, and then they put this song on, and like everybody be like, yeah, we're going to the seaside, life is great. So yeah, I really like that one.
And I think it is the flip White Lines. Is it a cover of White Lines, the flip?
Yeah, it does, but I do have a better wide line cover. But
Yeah.
yeah, indeed, man, you got your knowledge down. That
Yeah, no, I've got that record. It's a great record. Yeah, yeah. Great choice. What is your second one?
Well, the second one is also a cover, and that's by Sly Fifth Ave, and I really love his cover of Shiznit by
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg. Man, that guy know his music super well. Yeah, I got into the cover things actually because I saw DJ Newmark in 2017 at the Red Bull Three Style World Finals, and he played like a bunch of covers back to back, and I like, what the the fuck, man? I know these records, but I don't really know them, and they sound fresh, but they sound familiar at the same time. And I was like, man, this is cool. I love it, and I got really into them. Kind of died down a little bit, but yeah, this is still one of my favorite songs. I could just listen to it, and it's just a beautiful song.
You've mentioned DJ Newmark. Are you happy to talk about what happened with DJ Newmark and the sample?
I mean, yeah, I guess I said what I had to say. I guess already on my Instagram, but just to be sure, that's one of the reasons that I didn't put out any Happy Digger records, because one of the records I had a sample by DJ Newmark, and uh, and since I do my own promotion, I got the test pressings, and I start scratching with them, recorded it, and put it online. And I mean, whatever. And he commented underneath my post like, "Yo, uh, I'm very happy you're gonna put out that record, but I want 80% of all income, because that shit's mine, and the other 20% you can keep, because I know it's very expensive to press vinyl." And I was like, damn, man, because I've been a huge fan of Jurassic 5 and Judy Newmark, and we actually booked Newmark in my hometown a few years back, and I was like, man, he could just DM me. And and I think that would be uh a more, I don't know, more like a gentleman type of thing, whatever. But yeah, he didn't do that. He just wanted to put it out in the open. So I contacted him, and we talked and went back and forth, and we actually came up with a price. And just before I wanted to pay him, well, two things. Just before I wanted to pay him, I was sending the email like, yeah, okay, good, whatever, we're gonna do it. And then my battery fell off from my laptop, and my battery died. Like, shit. So then I call a friend of mine. He works he's in the music industry, and in vinyl in particular. And I explained him the situation. He's like, yo, dude, you should never pay him. Like, why should you pay him? You don't. Newmark explained to me like, okay, you can pay me, but you still would not own the rights, because I don't have the rights myself. And like, yeah, shit, why should I pay? I was just, I guess I put him on top of, like, looked up to him, and like, okay, man, Mr. Newmark, here's my money, whatever, like being a little kid, just looking up to your giant hero. But then my friend put sense in my brain, like, yo, why are you paying that guy? You won't get anything out of it. Newmark's action, calling me out online, doing like publicly, just didn't sit well with me. I was like, man, that's not a good character trait. So I was like, yo, dude, maybe if I pay him and he will still rat me out to the label. Like, yo, that guy sampled your shit. And then I have Universal on my ass, and I pay Newmark, and I still wouldn't have a record, to release. So
I mean, these things happen, but I guess it happened before you got the record pressed.
no, I was in the middle of pressing it, man. I lost some quite
Oh,
some
you lost. Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
all
I
right. I
did,
thought
I
you'd
did.
got there
Yeah.
before, but
You
that's
know,
not.
that is one of the things that me and Friss are talking about that a lot, like the whole legality of what we're doing, because everything is like nice and whatever, and we people putting out edits without paying like the proper thing, and a lot of bootlegs happening, and you know. Newmark was right, like, yeah, I'm using part of your music and I'm selling it, even though it was just the drums, and I use a whole lot of bunch of other shit. I didn't clear anything, and and to be fair, that's not right on my side. And actually, that's not right. I know a lot of people side, that do that in the 45 community. That's a weird thing happening where everything seems to be okay, I guess. Like, yo, man, just rip some shit and put shit together and press it and, call it your own. And so I've been struggling with that concept for like a year almost. That's why I will put 45s out, but I probably my own music or somebody else's music, but I want to do it like clean and proper.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. There's different levels, isn't there? There's producers who are like re-editing and reversioning stuff. There's then the other extreme where people are ripping an MP3 and putting it on a 45 and sending it as a bootleg. Now that's not acceptable at all, I don't think. But yeah, no, it'd be interesting to see. And it might give you the impetus to make your own music as well.
Yeah,
Rather than sampling, you think, okay, let me see if I can recreate this melody somehow. Let me see if I can recreate this breakbeats.
exactly. Yeah, sure. So yeah, it was definitely a learning moment for me. And although I was sad that my money was lost and I had like a bad thing with Numar, I think he did taught me something. So yeah, it was good at the end.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. That's the second one. We sort of sidetracked into new
Yeah,
mic. Let's
yeah.
have a look at the third one.
Well, the third one, I hope this is not a bootleg, but I don't think it is.
That's Dynamite Cuts, I think, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But
No. They license everything.
do you know that as a fact, or are you just like assuming?
No, I think they're very well respected in the industry. I think a lot of it is licensed.
All right, because
But
I
they put
heard.
out they put out loads of music. Loads
I
of music.
know, but I heard from other labels. I don't want to mention
Okay.
names or whatever. That be like, oh, those are legit labels, and they're like, yeah, they're legit, but they're just, they just fuck around with it anyway. So, whatever, man. The ninth creation, Bubblegum. I love this record. I love it because I heard Rob Swift using it on one of his mixtapes, and it's also sampled by the art. No, not the arsonist. Shit, what's the name? Wrong Side of the Tracks, that hip hop tune.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
the
can't think
names.
of it, but yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I think it's fun. It's like like cheeky kind of because it's very sexual oriented, but it's been keeps talking about bubblegum. I don't know. Yeah, I just love the vibe of it, man. It's a great 45.
Yeah. Sideshow's
Yeah,
confirming
good.
Artifact.
Yeah, for artifacts. Thank you very much.
There he is. There he is, Sideshow. Last thing we'll talk about, I think, and then unless you've got anything coming up, which we'll talk about in a minute, but Amsterdam. I reached out to you a while ago and I said, look, I'm thinking of doing this thing. You're like, yeah, well, if you manage to put, some Netherlands DJs together, then, let me know. I can help you. And then fast forward maybe another year. And then it actually happened. And you helped connect me with Dimmy and we had Cafe de Duval. And you came and played a brilliant set at Killer Cut. So how was that for you, that connection and meeting some of the other 45s DJs from the Netherlands?
I really liked that day a lot. I didn't like the parking in Amsterdam. I stayed there for 3 hours. I paid almost 40 euros, and I hurt my soul, yo. But I realized that day that I really miss going to record stores and see all your buddies there. Just talk shit, and I saw Soul Supreme there. I saw, man, I don't even know his real DJ name, but this guy that I really like his dance hall record, the dance hall mixtapes, and I saw him there as well. And Seichiono dropped by, and you was there, and all the guys from Breda, Herman and Boss, and all these guys. And man, I was so happy to be with kindred spirits, So yeah, that was lovely. That was super cool.
It was a lot of fun, and the videos are going to start coming out onto YouTube. We played your Killer Cut set as part of 45 Day. That was a great day. That set was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I've got to cut out the Bob Marley bit because Twitch doesn't like Bob Marley because it's a
Ah,
restricted artist. But other than that, the rest of it's fine. And hopefully next year, this year we did 3 days. You made it, I think, for the Saturday and connected us for the Saturday night. Hopefully next year we'll do something a bit longer, and across different parts and different towns and cities in the Netherlands, because
that would be great.
everyone comes from everywhere, and it's great. And hopefully we'll do something maybe in Rotterdam. Now, we've managed to, myself and Sideshow and also Rolling Adam have managed to get you back onto Twitch a little bit now. How have you been finding it, sort of getting back and doing some streaming?
Kind of enjoying it, really. I want to have my weekly stream thing again on Wednesday, every Wednesday, starting next week. On May 21st, because I did miss that whole thing we talked about before, the freedom to play whatever you want to play, however you want to play during theater performances. Because I just got back from like a big tour, like a 3-month tour with all 36 shows or whatever. So I'm really like in shape DJ wise. Because I had to do all my routines in front of thousands of people, so I'm good with that. And I always play before the show, also for my dances and whatever. And so I got really in shape. I didn't want to lose that. I was like, man, you're in great shape, like DJ wise. You should continue doing it. And I've been DJing by myself here like every day almost. Like shit, I have to show somebody something. So I'm very excited to go back to Twitch. Set a goal to do that for like a year, and see what happens, see what comes from there, and then
Cool.
yeah, whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I'm actually excited because there was a time when I wasn't excited about Twitch at all because it had bad connect like memories. I would say it was that whole hectic start of the pandemic thing, and the whole depressing vibe, and I had to do it and didn't really want to do it. I didn't know what I wanted with my life, but I guess I'm in a way better mental space at the moment that I can just approach it with like a fresh look, and just
Yeah, it's just another project, isn't it? Like you say, you're setting an intention. Let's see what comes of it. And yeah, I'm very excited. Every Wednesday, it's going to be great.
yeah.
That's
There
going
you
to be a
go.
lot of work, a lot of routines.
I mean, I think I'm not really gonna do. I don't know actually, man. It's my channel. If you're gonna be on Wednesday, you're gonna see what happens. I'm really not sure what's gonna happen, but I have a lot of sides as me like musically as well. I could go do some jazz, but I like house music as well. I'm into drum and bass, but I like Brazilian music. I like reggae and bass music and all that shit. And eventually, I like to mismatch them all
Mm.
together.
Is this going to be 45s, vinyl, digital, everything?
Yeah, it depends on my mood. I think probably. Yeah, I'm not really sure. For sure, I'm gonna I approach this being two sets. Like first hour more like I think more slow down music, and the second hour more like dance oriented stuff.
Sideshow's asking what time is it going to be on a Wednesday?
It's gonna be 9 p.m. Central European time.
Okay, cool. So 8 till 10 p.m. UK time. Okay, cool. Do you want to tell people what you've got? Obviously, you've got your Twitch show coming up. Have you got any sort of gigs and stuff lined up in Amsterdam or around where you are?
Yeah, I got a gig this Saturday actually in Amsterdam. So if you want to come check that out, the theater company that I work with is called Ish, ESH, and we're celebrating our 25th birthday. A special show put together like a way back in the day show, all those little bits and bobs from previous shows. We are going to smash those together and do a big 2 hour show. And after that, I'm gonna DJ there for almost 3 hours. So yeah, if you wanna, get your boogie on, that's on May 17th. And other than that, man, I'm gonna play for fucking Exhibit. I mean, not for him, but yeah,
Wow.
yeah, we I organize hip hop shows in my hometown, and we just moved to a way bigger venue with a capacity of like 1,500, and we booked Exhibit. So that's our first
Wow.
big guy, and so that's on June 30th, I think, on Monday, and that's in the city of Groningen, G City.
That's amazing. Well, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much again for being on the show. Thank you for your time. If you hang on there for a minute, we'll have a quick chat after the show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we will speak to you very soon. Take it easy.
Thank you, guys. Peace.